Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today I'm really excited to introduce you guys to my new shocks for the Scout Bobber. Check this out. So as you can see, I got the Indian piggyback shocks with the rebound adjustment down here and the compression adjustment up here. And so today I wanted to talk to you guys about just a few things, my overall experience, but in terms of the shocks, I did want to talk to you guys about just the installation, the ease of installation, how easy, difficult was it. I also wanted to talk about just general aesthetics and the bike itself. The third topic for the shocks is just how comfortable is it, right? That was the main point for getting the shocks, to make the bike a little bit more comfortable. So that will be one of the main points of discussion. And then number 4, I wanted to talk about just overall performance, right? Outside of comfort, how does it perform in the corners? How do these shocks improve the rideability of the bike overall? And then we'll talk about the overall value as kind of like the final point of the video, whether or not I think it's worth your hard-earned dollars. So let's get right into it with point number 1, which is the installation. I would have to say this is probably one of the easiest installations that you can make to your Scout Bobber. All you're going to do is lift the bike up a little bit, take off your original shocks, put on the new shocks, and then boom, you're done. 2 bolts here, and really that's all you need to do. Now just keep in mind that these shocks are slightly longer than your OEM shocks, so you're going to have to lift up the bike a little bit just to lengthen out the swing arm or the bike and the tire, and you should have no problems. But the installation is very, very simple. Took me about 20 minutes to get it done, both sides, and yeah, and that's that. So number 2, general aesthetics. I really love the look of the piggyback shocks. I am kind of partial to that look. And, you know, when I was looking at these shocks, I had my choice between this, progressives, and all-ins, right? I went with the Indian, just kind of, it was right in that sweet spot between price, looks, performance, and overall general aesthetics. I think it looks fantastic. I think it makes the bike stand out just a little bit, but I'm going to talk about a couple of things that I'm not sure if I'm in love with. So number 1, you know, like I mentioned, the overall length is a little bit longer than the OEM shock. So it does kind of kick the bike up on the back end. And you can really feel that when you sit down on the bike. It is what it is. And then number 2, with the piggyback shocks, I do like how it looks in general by itself, but I don't know if it necessarily fits with the bobber theme. But overall, I think it looks good with the bike, so I'm going to stick with it. All right, so number 3, comfort, which is the whole point of, you know, getting the shocks, right? If you guys have seen my previous videos, I made a number of videos talking about just how the Scout Bobber is not a very comfortable bike. The OEM shocks were pretty terrible in my opinion. As you can see, I upgraded to the Indian comfort seat, which helped a little bit, right? Helped absorb some of the shocks, but I wanted to go one step further. So let me talk about comfort. And just keep in mind, I haven't even started adjusting or playing around with the adjustments, but just my first impression, and I think I have maybe like about 100 miles on this thing with the new shocks, but overall comfort, damn, it's so nice. Immediately, my first time riding this bike, I was blown away by how comfortable it was. And not just the comfort, but the feeling like you're riding a cloud, right? It really makes the bike stable. And what I mean by that is, as you're going through, this particular area, like the seat and stuff, I don't feel it moving up and down. And I think the shocks does a really good job of like compressing and expanding to adjust for any of the imperfections on the road. So while I'm riding the bike and I'm going over some of the bumps and, you know, the cracks on the road, I don't feel anything over here. So what I imagine is happening is just this part doing a lot of the work, right? So the comfort is just amazing. Now, keep in mind, I don't have a point of reference between this shocks, all-ins, progressives, right? But what I can tell you is this shock versus OEM, like a night and day improvement. Night and day improvement. Oh my gosh. I should have gotten these shocks much sooner. It would have made my whole Scout Bobber experience just that much better. But comfort-wise, dude, this is a home run. If you've been kind of sitting on the fence about these and you're not really happy with the comfort of the bike in general, go ahead and do yourself a favor and pick these up. I got these from the Indian website for, I think they were doing like a 15% off, so I got them for like $700 or something. I don't really have other words to describe how comfortable it is. It's just, the bike just feels stable. The bike feels smooth. I took out the Scalp Bobber recently, did kind of like a half day riding, maybe 3-4 hours or so. Had no issues whatsoever. Whereas before, I would ride for about an hour, need to take a quick break, do another hour, take another break. But on this thing, went full 4 or 5 hours or so, no issues whatsoever. Only stopped by to pull up for gas. Now let's talk about performance, right? I knew that the comfort was going to be pretty good. The enhanced performance is what notched it up another level for me. So what I mean by that is I already kind of talked about it, but you know, when you're riding, it just absorbs all of the imperfections on the road, so you feel a lot more stable. You feel way more planted on the road, obviously. In the corners, oh my gosh, it feels like it's just turning the bike for you. Feel way more planted in the corners. It tracks the corners much, much better versus the OEM shock. I think performance on the Scalp Bobber was already pretty good out of the box. The piggyback shocks is going to take it up another level. If you like to ride aggressively, if you like to take corners hard, I would say, you know, the shocks are going to help you in that aspect of riding. And not to mention, on the highway, dude, it was just so smooth and so comfortable. Typically on the highway, you know, if the bike feels like really constricted somehow, like, but on the highway with these shocks, it just felt really relaxed. I don't know, it's kind of hard for me to describe, but even on the highway when you're just going straight, I could tell that there was a difference. Just how smooth the bike felt. You know, it just felt a lot more comfortable. I was able to ride a little bit more at ease. And so performance-wise, another great big improvement. So now, in terms of value, right? How do I feel about the value? I think new, it goes for about $900 or so. But like I mentioned, I was able to find a 15% off coupon on the Indian website and got it for $750. So, in my opinion, I think $750 or so, or even $900 is well worth it for all of the improvements that you get with the piggyback shocks. I could not be any happier with these shocks. I am kind of curious how much better the All-ins might be, but you know what? These shocks took care of about like 80% of my gripes on the Scalp Bobber. I made quite a few videos about the comfort being the only thing that I didn't like about about the Scalp Bobber. And now, with the combination of this new seat and the shocks, this bike is perfect. It's quick, it's nimble, it's comfortable, it's fast, it sounds great. Man, I'm just falling in love with the Scalp Bobber all over again. But that's going to do it for me today, guys. Thanks for tuning in. If you are on the fence about getting the shocks, piggyback shocks, or whatever shocks you're thinking about, do it because it's seriously going to enhance the performance and the comfort of your Scalp Bobber. All right, I'm going to bounce out of here. Thanks for tuning in. And until next time, I'll see you all later. Peace.